So today we got some stuff for Destiny 2, specifically Arc 3.0, and the long-awaited detailed description of what we're going to be getting, some new things, some new supers, some massive changes and overhauls to each class, which are very exciting, and we'll cover that. Now, first off, the things we'll be focusing on this video are some of the new stuff added to the classes, some potentially new supers, new aspects. We are not going to be covering fragments because they gave us a small testing pool of it and just a few of them, and they'll be revealing the rest of it next week, the 23rd, on Destiny 2 Showcase, where they'll be revealing Season 18, Lightfall, Arc 3.0, things like that. But they gave us some details and some descriptions of what we should be looking forward to, and I guess you could say some written words of what we'll be seeing in the game, which again, all of this is very exciting. And with that being said, let's talk about Arc 3.0. Now, Arc 3.0 is all about going fast and hitting stuff. They maintain the fact of class identities being really, really important. And with Arc, they visualize going fast and hitting stuff as the main identity for the subclass. Now, right off the bat, they go into describing buffs and debuffs with Arc 3.0, similar to Radiant or Volatile when it came to Void and Solar. We'll be getting new buffs and debuffs that are really focused in on what the class identity is. And the first one on the list is a buff called Amplified. Now, this makes you faster, which focuses on movement speed, weapon handling, and being more agile. Now, for Amplified, no aspects or fragments are needed to be amplified, and it is intrinsic to all classes that are the Arc subclass. Such actions like rapidly defeating enemies with any Arc-based damage will proc the Amplified buff. Aspects and fragments do have an effect on Amplified, but they only add ways to become Amplified or new ways to benefit from it. Now, another buff which we were all expecting to be returning and getting some changes or things like that is Blinding, which disables enemies. Now, for PvE, they won't be able to see, they'll be disoriented and unable to fire their weapon at you. Now, for PvP, the screen will whiten out, HUD will be removed for a short duration of time, and will have an audio ringing effect. Now, there is Jolt, which makes enemies chain to each other for a AoE type of crowd control. Now, Ionic Traces will also be returning. Before, they used to be a mid-tree Arc Warlock. Now, they will be available to all. Now, if you guys don't know, these Ionic Traces will add energy to your abilities when you collect them. Now, let's focus in on classes. What is each class going to get? And first on the list on their blog post, obviously, is Hunters. You know, Hunters, let's see what they get, because they get everything. All right, so for one, they're going to be rewarding being in close quarter situations with an enemy. Now, they did maintain that this is pretty hard to do as a hunter with survivability, and it is really punishing, so they gave them more tools, as they described, to stay alive in CQC situations with crowd control tools, which I think is pretty interesting. Let's see how this plays in PvP, but for PvE, I think this will make them a lot more functionable to the overall sandbox. Now, for new Arc supers, we got one for the hunters called Gathering Storm. So, as described, you leap into the air, plunging the staff into the ground. On impact, the staff emits a damaging burst and jolts enemies around, and basically sounds like their version of Fist of Havoc, just cooler. Why can't we Titans maintain the cool stuff? Oh, who knows? Who knows? Bungie loves their hunters. Now, there are 3 aspects for hunters. Flow state, defeating a jolted opponent causes you to become amplified. When amplified, the hunter's dodge will recharge faster and make you more resistant to damage, and you have quicker reload times. Now, Tempest Strike allows the hunter to perform a sliding melee that launches an arc wave along the ground, dealing significant damage and jolting enemies in its path. Sounds very similar to the exotic glaive you can get as a hunter. Lethal Current, after dodging, the hunter's melee launch range is increased, and their next melee attack jolts their target and creates a damaging lightning aftershock. When used with the Arc Staff super, after dodging, the hunter's next staff light attack hits twice. In addition, hitting a jolted enemy with a melee attack will blind them. Oh, and you hunter main bastards, you're getting Blink back, and I'm truly about to hate you hunters even more now in PvP. Now, for Warlocks, they basically said that they had in mind. Yeah, had to fit that one in there. Now, the big thing for them is being amplified, as this modifies their abilities, or as described, powers them up. So such things like chain effect will chain to more enemies while amplified. Now, there are 3 Warlock aspects. Arc Soul. The Warlock casts a rift to create an Arc Soul that will assist the player in battle. Allies who pass through the rift will also earn an Arc Soul. The rift charges faster when allies are near. While amplified, any Arc Soul you have or gain is supercharged, increasing its rate of fire. This is very similar to what is already existing in the game. Now, Lightning Surge, the Warlock activates their melee while sliding to transform into a ball of lightning and teleport forward, calling down a field of lightning bolts at the exit point that jolts targets. This is very, very Metroid-y, and I'm not against that. And for our next one, Electrostatic Mine, Arc ability kills and kills on Arc debuff buff enemies create ionic traces. When you collect any ionic trace, you become amplified. Now, for Titans, my mains, let's see what they have done to us, the damage they have caused to my favorite subclass. Now, they described, and I think this is my favorite quote of it all, you don't move a Arc Titan. They move you. That's kind of how they described it, Titan itself. And I think that's very fitting and kind of savage. I do like that saying, and I'm going to probably get that tattooed somewhere. I'm kidding. No, I'm not. Now, uncupping the tree systems and letting Titans customize their abilities is the greatest change to Arc 3.0. This creates more powerful builds than the tree system limitations. And this is kind of something us Titan mains always discuss. The stuff you can do as a Titan separated by different trees was always something of, oh, I can't wait to mix this in together when Arc 3.0 becomes a thing. And here we are, and they've kind of confirmed just that. Now, while reading the further stuff, we got a dodge ability. Now, I will say that all my hunter hate is now gone in one sentence because the Titans are getting a dodge ability. This is tied to the Arc subclass, which is the new thruster class ability. Now, they compare this distance to a hunter dodge, and I love this a lot. It's something I've been craving for. It's kind of weird that they say this because Twilight Gap was a big harassment thing that happened when they said it's not coming back. A dev said it, and then it started a whole shenanigans, and here we are where we're getting it anyway. It's weird. I don't know why they even said that. They should just said shut, but whatever. Here we are. I have no complaints. Don't harass the developers either. Now, we also get a new melee ability, Thunderclap. Now, players control the build-up power of a small jab to potentially get it to a One Punch Man style blast. Now, that should be interesting. Now, they also mentioned that 90% charge Thunderclap can one-shot a Guardian in PvP. The charge will determine the time it takes to recharge, and you will also need to stay still to charge this ability. Now, this is all sound interesting. It kind of weighs the effects of, oh, you use it, you gotta stay, still to charge it, things like that. Let's see how effective it is in PvP, but it does sound pretty awesome. One Punch Man is an amazing anime if you guys have not watched it. Now, there is also 3 aspects that they went over. Touch of Thunder improves arc grenades in the following ways. For Flashbang, fires an additional blind impulse on its first bounce. Pulse, when the grenade damages an enemy, it creates an ionic trace for the Titan. Pulse grenade's damage increases over time as the grenade lingers after impact. Lightning grants an additional charge for lightning grenade and jolts targets on initial blast. Storm creates a roaming thundercloud that moves and tracks enemies, similar to the Stasis Hunter's Silence and Squall super, firing lightning bolts at the ground underneath it. Now, we also got Juggernaut. While sprinting and with full class ability energy, the Titan gains a frontal shield that blocks incoming damage. When amplified, the shield is stronger. Once the shield is depleted by taking damage, the player's class energy is depleted. There's also Knockout. Melee kills trigger health regeneration and make the Titan amplified. Critically wounding an enemy or breaking their shield increases the melee range and damage for a brief period. Titan's base melee becomes arced in power while Knockout is active. Now, these are all very interesting aspects that we are going to be getting for all classes. Now, again, these on paper sound amazing, but we have to see it. We have to play it. Kind of why I haven't really described, some of the stuff that are doing with aspects. Now, if I didn't go over a existing super or something that's already kind of in the game and hasn't seen much changes, I didn't cover it because that's staying the same and how those functions work. Again, Hunter's getting a new super, Titan's getting a new melee ability and a new dodge ability focused in around arc. So those are things I covered. Anything I didn't cover, let's say like, for example, Chaos Reach, not much changes has occurred to focus in on discussing it in this video. Now, we're also not going over fragments like I said earlier because we only got a small taste. The rest will be revealed next week, Tuesday, August 23rd, which will give us a look at everything that we will be playing next season and what Lightfall will be about. So if you guys want to stay up to date with all that stuff, I will be making videos that day, or specifically a video that day talking about some of the stuff. New season comes out that day, so there'll be a lot of Destiny 2 content. So if you guys are new here and want to stay up to date with that content, definitely hit that subscribe button and the bell to be notified for when that content does drop. With that being said, guys, that's all I have for this one. If you guys enjoyed this video, found it informative, definitely make sure you drop this video a like. But until then, I'm out of words. ShadowNinja here, and I'm out.